What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mitch and Maeli Live. Today it's Mitch and Mahea Live because Maeli is not feeling well, so we're going to excuse Maeli for today. But I have an awesome treat for all of you. We are now just entering into season three of the First Flip Challenge. Whoa, I'm getting some feedback here. Let me fix that real quick. We are now, there we go. So we're heading into season three of the First Flip Challenge, which is awesome because we have seen tremendous success in season one and season two. We've seen people blow it up, and our guest today is one of the all stars from season one and from season two. She did both, and so we're going to get a chance to talk to her a little bit about her success and why the First Flip Challenge worked for her, and what she did to use the First Flip Challenge to build real estate success. And so, I'm excited to bring out Mahea Eddy. Mahea, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks so much for
Good.
having me today.
Yeah, it's good to see you. We had an awesome weekend down there at the First Flip Challenge Accelerator on Saturday, and then at the gala, the award ceremony for season two. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a magical weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed my weekend.
Good. Yeah, it was cool to see everybody. I love those opportunities that we have to bring everybody together. And during the Investor Secret Network Mastermind, I don't get to be in the room with you guys. Obviously, I'm running the First Flip Challenge workshop upstairs, and so I don't get to hang out with everybody on a weekly basis like you and Maylee do.
Hmm.
So those times when we get to bring everybody together, it's a lot of fun,
It,
and especially fun to be able to celebrate everybody's success. It was really cool to see how many people got into deals, put deals under contract, just the growth that happens. And that's a little bit what I want to chat with you about today. So, I know your story. I've heard it several times, and your story is it's so inspiring to see kind of the path that you've taken. And you are one of those people that you're kind of the reason that Maylee and I do what we do, right? Because while this is a business for us, and hopefully it makes us money, it's also more importantly a passion project. Um, we have over the years fallen in love with seeing students make changes in their lives that leads to allowing them to build generational wealth. And you're doing that. You're a product of the product, and that's really all. But there's a lot of people who haven't heard your story, and so I want to kind of go through the journey with you today. So I know your first real kind of introduction to the power of real estate was when you and your husband Ron bought your first house. Can you kind of walk me through just that beginning part of what happened with that first house?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were on the market to buy a new home. A little bit of backstories. My husband and I, we're the bankruptcy couple. We had to pull ourselves out of bankruptcy. And once our credit got to a point where we were making enough money and we had good credit and we were able to get a home loan again, we were on the market to look for a new home, and my dream was to buy a brand new home and to get into something that I would just be really happy in. We had just come over a very big hump in our lives that we felt like we deserved to have a good home. And so we were on the market. We were looking at these, five, six, $700,000 homes. We qualified for that, and so it was exciting. And I had a family member come up to me and say, I have a home if you want it. It's in a good location. It's in Sugar House, and it's kind of beat up, needs some work, but I'll sell it to you for, a good discounted price. And it didn't appeal to me. I didn't want it. I didn't want something that we had to work on and fix. And my husband's really good with his hands, and so things like that intrigue him. And he said, I'm a really good handyman. Let's just take this one. We're getting it cheap. We might as well take it. And I didn't want it. And there was a few nights where I just
Who
cried
wants to
and
live
I
in a
said, I
construction
don't
zone,
want
right?
it. I don't want to live in a construction zone. This is ridiculous. And we've worked hard for where we're at now. I don't want to have to deal with that. And my husband and I prayed about it and we talked about it, and we ultimately we took it. We took it at an extremely discounted price for Sugar House, and we moved in. We bought it. We moved in, and my husband immediately got to work. And it took us about 3 years to finally get everything put in place where we wanted it. And when we finished it, I didn't want to move. I wanted to keep it because it was finally a home that we put our work into it, and it was beautiful. But the goal was to fix it up and to sell it. And so that was our first journey into, house hacking or into real estate investing. And that's where I kind of felt like I think I have a niche for some design and some to figure things out and how to make things beautiful. And so that's, part of why I ended up just loving the home and considering different things.
It kind of gave you that the vision of the power of real estate, right?
Yeah, in a
Because
sense, yeah.
yeah, and I think anybody who's owned a home for more than a couple of years, even if you live in it, even if it's not an investment, even if you just move into it and it's your primary residence and you live there and then you sell it, it really is the average person's asset class, right? Like they you can tell you can see the power of real estate when you as you're building equity and when you sell a home and you're able to buy something bigger because you built equity in the one that you're coming from. And I
Hmm.
love that you had that experience. We talk about on Thursdays in the first flip challenge workshop. I talk about the difference between like the moving guy, right? Which that's what you guys did. That's how you
That's
started.
what we did.
And I
Yep.
love that because it showed you the power of uh of real estate and what it can do for you financially, right?
Right.
Um, and for a lot of people, I think that's where kind of it needs to start sometimes. But then, you've made this transition now to where you recognize like it's not a sustainable business if I've got to move into every one of them. There's some bummers, like, you by the time you finished the house, you loved it, but then you had to sell it,
Hmm.
right? So you can
Yeah.
capitalize on the investment. And that's a bummer because your experience inside the house is, you know, living in a construction zone.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but so shortly after that, you met Maylee, I think
I
at
did.
a Creating Her Empire event.
I
Um,
did.
and then you met me and we kind of got working together and you joined the First Flip Challenge.
Hmm.
And that seemed to kind of be maybe and maybe it wasn't, maybe it was before that, but it seems to me like that was kind of a light bulb moment for you. Um,
It was. I right after we sold the home in Sugar House, we met you folks at the tea party, and then I met with you, and then that's when I actually first bought our first home in West Valley. And we did a seller finance on that one. And that this was 2 years ago, a year ago. And that's when I thought we can take this, we let's flip it, let's help him move out, let's help him get a place of his own and have him start fresh somewhere. And we were able to go in with some retirement funds that we directed and was able to fix that home and then ended up helping this homeowner start fresh. He was able to pay off, some debts and, have some money in his savings. He took his family home to Hawaii. And so he did really well in that. But I think it was with that home. And after meeting you folks, I felt like this is it. This is what I want to do. Like this, we flipped our home. We lived on the floor for months, and then we got into this next one and um seen the transition with that one. And I came back to our masterminds on Thursday night, and I felt like this is it. I need to stick to something and start getting my education in and start learning. And then that's when you and Maylee introduced the First Flip Challenge. And I felt like this is the perfect time for me to quit my job. It's time for me to quit my job and focus fully on what I want to do because this is when I decided that this is what I want to do is real estate investing, and it's time to get my education in and start learning from the pros. And that's when the first flip challenge started. And so I dove in. I dove in and I haven't looked back since.
Good. And we love that. It's really been cool to watch, where you're at and to see the trajectory that you're on, because where you're going is even more exciting. So I want to back up just a little bit because I want to talk about this first actual like investment deal, right? Not
Mhm.
the house hacking one was awesome, but now, you know, big girl pants on, like, we
Yes.
did the first flip, right? And you negotiated seller financing on it. I think
Hmm.
for a lot of people, we talk about these funding strategies and we kind of take them for granted because, now being educated and having used them, it's like, oh, yeah, I get how it works, right? Like, and we can have conversations like it's no big deal. But people from the outside looking in, they're like, what do you mean, like, you used his mortgage? Like, how does that work? Kind of thing. Or what do you mean you used other people's money? How does that work?
Hmm.
Um, Talk to me about the negotiation process with the seller, because he would have to agree to that. Was he already familiar with the idea of seller financing?
No, and it was he was kind of hesitant for a little while. He had a wife to worry about, and thankfully this, he's part of our family. He's a longtime friend. We've known him for a long time. And my husband is quite the talker. So he knows how to uh use his words, but I tend to mumble. I tend to word vomit over everyone. And we were both able to take them to dinner one night and say, you know what, you're in a situation now where we can help you. Let us help you. And so we talked to him about, you wouldn't have to go apply for a new loan. You don't have to, let's just figure out how we can utilize what's already in place. And so we told him what we would do is we would take over your mortgage payments. We will get the funding from a retirement fund. And so there's not a lot of money coming from your end. And so we were able to help him find a place to rent while the home was being demoed and being rehabbed. And then so we paid for everything. We didn't have to change the mortgage. We didn't have to um, do anything really scary for him because he was
No.
part of luckily enough, he was part of the process. He was able to come with us and look at the home and see the things that were being done on it. He was able to meet our realtor at the time and get comfortable with her too, because this is his home,
Yeah.
They with homeowners, they're very emotionally attached to it, and to just walk away from it is hard. So I get that. I totally get that. And so when we were able to use his mortgage to make those payments, we were saving on, if we were to get a hard money loan or to have to come up with down payments and stuff, we were able to just help him in different ways with, finding a place. And luckily we were able to make really good on the end. So we essentially joint ventured with him and split those profits, and he did really well. We all did really really well on that home.
What did you
um
make? What was the
the,
overall profit on that house?
so grand total between all of us was 114,000, and
That's
we were
awesome.
yes, we were able
I,
to
I would
split
say now
that.
there's no average or typical results in real estate investing. Um, but that's probably above average. If there was an average, it's probably above average
Yeah, it
for a
it
first
was
deal. That's
amazing.
awesome.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. And again, that was another like, holy crap, I can do this. We can do this.
Yeah.
And it was you know it was satisfying. There was a satisfying effect there where it started off at a home that needed a lot of work, needed roof work, needed basement work, needed cleanup, and then we turned it into something beautiful. And we both, my husband and I, and the homeowner and his wife, walked away with a good
Good chunk.
profit.
And I
Mhm.
think that's the key, right? Is again, outsiders looking in, like, what the heck? Why would anybody be willing to keep their mortgage in place and let me just make the payments on it so that I can make money, right?
Mhm.
And well, the answer to that is nobody would. Uh,
Mhm.
because if it's just one-sided, then what's in it for them, right? Nobody would jump for that. it's the secret and the key is exactly what you guys did on that first deal. You created a win-win.
Mhm.
And that's my favorite part about what we do as real estate investors is that it's an opportunity to help people. It's an opportunity to help, potentially make returns for our partners and for our lenders. It's an opportunity to help the people we're buying the house from. It's a lot of the seller finance deals that Maili and I do. These are people that are going to lose their house to the bank. And when people go into foreclosure, they're going to have their credit destroyed because they're going to get that foreclosure mark on their credit, and then no bank wants to touch them for a decade.
Yeah.
Um, and the way that we position the seller financing is we come in and say, hey, look, you can go that route and you can turn your house over to the bank, but that's what's going to happen. Your credit's going to get destroyed. Or, we could put a simple agreement in place that says instead of turning the title over to the bank, why don't you turn it over to us? And we'll catch you up on your payments immediately because we want to use that mortgage, right? So let's get it out of foreclosure, let's catch it up, and immediately that stops the bleeding on their credit and it brings that note current. And then, also in the contract, we'll make your payments on time every month, or you get the house back,
Yep.
kind of thing. So by making those consistent payments, now they've got a solution where, yeah, they got to turn their house over to somebody else, but in one scenario, it's destroying their credit. In the other scenario, it's actually helping their credit. And so
Hmm.
we get to create a win-win scenario for these, for these people. And I love that about what we do. So
Yeah.
well done with that. Now,
Hmm.
Mahea, you are someone who is a perfect example. Well, none of us are perfect, right? But you're a great example. You're a shining example of taking what you're learning from the education, what you're learning from the program, and applying those things. And you seem to kind of stick to the system. We talk a lot about how, the only way that you can build wealth in real estate is by acquiring property. That's
Hmm.
the only thing. There's one way to make your net worth go up in real estate investing, and that is buy the next asset, right? Buy
Right.
the next house. And so as investors, that's kind of where we need to keep our focus. You, me, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, we all only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
What's the difference between, the average person and a wealthy person? Well, a wealthy person spends their time focusing on making their net worth go up. And I see a lot of uneducated investors out there like, strapping on the tool belt and going and framing a wall to save the couple $100 that they would pay to a framer to do it, right? Or mowing the lawn to save the $50 that they'd pay the neighbor kid to do it.
Right.
But that costs them time. And that's time that could be spent finding that next asset.
Yes.
And so you've done a great job. And man, I want I mean, for all the fix and flip, first flip challenge, for all the first flip challengers that watch this video, this is the message I want them all to take. You've done a great job of I did a deal. Now, instead of getting distracted by the deal, let's go find the next deal and let's follow the system. Find, analyze, negotiate, fund, close on the deal, and then repeat.
Yep.
You've done a great job of not getting distracted by the deal and all the workings of the deal. You just keep doing that.
Yes.
What do you feel is your secret there? I mean, what's advice that you would give, maybe some of the challengers or people that are watching that, are in that first deal where it's like, all right, we're in this deal now, we got distracted by the deal. Like, what keeps you on track?
So I, a part of me says that you need to stay moving. A big thing is yeah, get your education. The education is so important, but then the action that you put behind that is what's going to keep you going. If you put in your contract and then you get the deal and then you stop, then that's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Then you have to wait 6 months till it's done to see anything. In
Yep.
my mindset, I want to have the continual. And so
Yep.
when I get a property and get it closed and get my contractors all set up, then I'm ready to go on the next one. And so in the last 6 months for because of the two challenges, I have told myself that I want to be under contract at least with two or three homes and then closing on at least one or two of those every, 2 or 3 weeks. And so, which I've been able to do. And I don't stop. My goal has been to make offers at least 5 times a week. That I'm making offers on homes at least on 5 different properties a week. And then I go into it with the mindset of they're gonna say no, so keep going. So keep
Yeah.
going, keep putting more offers in. And it's because of that mindset that's gotten me, I've got 3 homes right now that's under construction, and I've got 2 more that are under contract. And then I've got an offer that's sitting and waiting right now to hear back from the homeowner. So I've got all these deals going on, but I'm not stopping. So I'm not sitting around waiting to hear if they're going to say anything or if they're going to
Right.
respond. You just
Yeah.
want to keep going, keep piling it on.
Yep.
But I mean, don't get it to the point where you overwhelm yourself and then like your head blows up, but get it to the point where, okay, I've got
Be
these
smart
ones
about it.
set. Yeah.
Fill the pipeline.
Yes. Yes. The pipeline, follow your pipeline. And that's where I've been. And I try to keep, so every time I get a home or I get under a contract, I celebrate it. I reward myself, or I go in and I go into my husband's office and I'm like, I got another one, and you do your little happy
Victory
dance.
dance.
Yes, you do your little victory
I
dance.
love
And then I get right back on that computer and I look for the next one and I look for the next one. So while I'm waiting to hear responses from one, I'm already working on another one.
working on
So
the
I
next
think
one.
that's
I love that
exactly.
because, and you said something important. The no, right? We're going for we're looking for the no's. This is a no business. I think there's a misconception that you'll go out and the first house you look at that will be your deal and that's the one you'll do, and it's like people think of it like shooting fish in a barrel, right? That's an easy game. The real estate is not that, right? Real estate is panning for gold. And I'm talking about the deal finding process that we use, right? Finding, analyzing, negotiating, funding, closing. Um, it's more like panning for gold. You stick your pan in the river and you pull up, mostly not gold, right? And you got to filter
Exactly.
out all the garbage and like get rid of all the no's until you get to those few little flakes or nuggets of gold, maybe one nugget of gold that you'll find. And uh, another great analogy, because we talked about a pipeline.
Mhm.
If you've ever like had a really long garden hose and you turn on the water, it takes a few minutes for the water to actually come out the end of the hose, right? Well, times that by a million when we're talking about real estate deals, because they're way more complicated than just turning on some water, right? If you turn your pipeline off when you get under contract, then you got to turn it back on and you got to wait again.
Wait.
And
Yeah.
that, if you don't keep that pipeline full, if you don't keep that pipeline going, then, you're going to be wasting a lot of time. I sold my deal. Now I'll turn the pipeline back on and we're going to wait a couple of months, maybe, however long it takes if you work it hard, to get into that next deal. Keep the pipeline full. And I think maybe one of the fears that people have of that is, well, what if I find a bunch of good deals that I can't take on because I don't have time for, or wholesale them. There's
Mm-hmm.
lots there's lots of hungry real estate investors both inside and outside of our little community here.
Yep.
Wholesale those deals. If you find a good deal and you're like, I'm way too busy, I think at a certain point, Mahea, you're still ramping up, you're still crescendoing. You got 3 deals going on right now. But if you
Mm-hmm.
had 3 or 4 more deals while you got 3 going on, my guess is you'd be like, okay, I can't go from 3 to 7, so let's let's let some other people do these deals, and you make a little money on them doing a wholesale. But the,
Mm-hmm.
but the key is, and what I love that you have done, is you've kept the hose on, you kept the water flowing, you keep the pipeline full with the deal leads. You don't get distracted once you close on one. You don't turn it off. You just keep it flowing.
Keep it flowing. Just keep
Yeah.
the keep I keep my hands moving. Keep my hands
Yep.
moving.
Yeah, just keep it going.
Keep it
And those are the
going.
things, yeah, and I can't emphasize that enough. Like those are the things that you're doing that everybody should be doing. And that is, once you close on the deal, turn it over to your project manager, or if you're the project manager, great, then you got 2 jobs now because you got to keep the pipeline. You got to be finding that next deal, analyzing, negotiating, funding, close on that, right? And
Yeah.
speaking of funding, One of the big things, one of the big questions I always get asked by people that are looking into getting into real estate investing is capital.
Mhm.
Where on earth do you find the capital to go do three deals at a time? Are you just rich? Does Ron make just millions of dollars and you just write a
Ron
check
makes
to him?
millions of dollars. I wish. We're getting there. We're getting there, Mitch.
Yeah.
So luckily enough, with our community and with our network, especially ISN, I have benefited great amounts through ISN. I was able to find my equity partners through them and through conversation and through relationships. Um, that's how I've been able to get my capital. And also with my hard money lenders and everything, it's all been just networking and having conversations and talking to people. And I was scared. I didn't know, okay, I'm asking people for money who are gonna want their money back with some return. And I just was so scared to even bring up the conversation. And I just put on ISN one day, was hiding behind the ISN curtain and just said, "Hey, I'm looking for money. I need an equity partner." And that's where you Mitch mentioned somebody in there, and I called her. I just said, if I'm going to do this, I need to face this fear of talking to people and being uncomfortable. And I called her and I said, so and so, I have a deal. I think it's fabulous. I would love to have you come on, and I'd love to have you come walk the property with me and see what you think. And she was still pretty infant in the program also. And so she had a lot of questions that I couldn't answer. And so we found out the answers together. We talked with you and Maeli, and we were able to come to a good joint venture agreement. And we did it. And we went into it together. And that's how our relationship with her started. And so now she's actually funded three of my deals. And the nice thing is she got her money back. She got her money back with a great return. And then with that, we turned around and she's a partner of mine now. So we do
You're
deals
the next one.
together. Yes. And so we were just using that again. And then I've got another partner who has also came into the network and was fairly fresh, and she had many questions. Her and her husband had a lot of questions. They had questions on how to direct their retirement, and in the long run, things worked out with her. And she goes on property tours with me and walks through the property and everything. And we have these relationships now where it's not about money anymore. It's about our relationship and the experiences that we're learning, and what the outcome will be at the end. So it's just been really great. And I've got people, I have a friend that lives in Canada who reached out to me, and she's like, I have money that I want to invest in, and you're doing so great. And so like I have pipelines now where if something comes up and I need something, or if my partners right now don't have it, I can reach out to others now. And
Yeah.
so it really is. It really comes down to your relationships and who you know, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So two things on that. I want to unpack this a little bit. So number one, I'm going to take a moment for a shameless plug because you mentioned network and community, and you brought up ISN, which is the acronym for the Investor Secret Network, which is the community that Maylee and I have built, and that you're a part of, and that we love having you be a part of. And so, shameless plug. I'm sure a lot of people are actually watching this stream live inside of Investor Secret Network, and if you are, give us a shout out in the comments. But for those who aren't, for those who are watching it on YouTube Live, there is a link in the description to be a part of the Investor Secret Network. It's a nationwide community of real estate investors, and this is where we share deals. We talk about what we're working on. This is where, Mahea found her first partner on her first deal that she raised capital for. This is where wholesales are happening, where we're sharing education and using the link that's in the description on YouTube. If you're not already a part of ISN, you're going to want to check it out. We're giving the first month for $1. It renews at $97 a month after that. Mahea faithfully pays her subscription fee every single month because she sees the value in it, right? She's getting deals done because of it. But join us. Click the link in the description, and try it out for $1 for the first month. If you don't like it, cancel it. There's no obligation. You can cancel it anytime. So we'd love to have you join the group. Now, the second thing that I want to unpack about that, because you talked about, it's the community, it's the relationships that you have. That's what builds your ability to go out and fund deals and get deals done. Again, creating a win-win, right? Because why would people give you money? Well, so they can also win. If
Mhm.
you're going to win, they're going to win, right? So, um, with that idea, one of the things that I love also that you do that a lot of people don't want to do is you talk about what you're doing. You
Mhm.
share on social media what I see all the time. Facebook. I'm not hyperactive on Facebook. Maeli is, and she'll show me. She's like, "Look at what Mahea posted." And you're talking about your deals. You're talking about what you're doing. Even from the get-go, you're like, "I'm a real estate investor. This is what I'm doing." And um, you're sharing the deal structure. You're sharing what you're making on things. You're sharing the deals you're finding, and that's attractive to people. I mean, would you say that social media, just being active on social media and talking about these activities that you're doing, is that what, like your from Canada? Is that what attracted your friend from Canada? Is that how she found out about what you're
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, she follows me on Facebook and on Instagram, and she's a longtime friend that moved to Canada a few years ago, and she mentioned that she wanted to meet up and talk, and so Ron and I took a trip to Canada. We went to
Nice.
Canada,
That's awesome.
and we were able to talk with her and her husband, and catch up, and it was just awesome, and it's yeah, it's because this ISN and social media is huge. And I was afraid of social media. I didn't want to put, I'm a real estate investor. But
Yeah, the first
now,
challenge is a good idea, really kind of pushing that on you, doesn't it?
yes,
What
yes.
did,
It was um scary. And
uh,
but like now I own it. I
yeah,
own it.
it's
I
just
this
like
is what I
anything. When
do.
you start doing something, you get more comfortable with it, right?
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
advice would you give? Because I think a lot of people feel that way. I think most people are like, I feel embarrassed to go out and talk about this thing that I'm gonna start doing because what if I'm not successful with it and I fall flat on my face? Then everyone's gonna see it and they're all gonna laugh at me. You know, I think everybody has a little bit of that inside of them, and you just shared that, that was where you were at when you first started, and, but you posted anyway, which that's what I love about you, Mahey. You just do it anyway. Um, what advice would you give to people that are feeling that right now?
I would say own it. Take the fear that you have it and just squish it. Yeah, you have to just push it aside and squish it and just own it and not be afraid of the naysayers, because that's where I was at. I was afraid of naysayers. I was afraid of people saying things. And I've had people tell me, "What are you doing? You're gonna lose everything that you have. You're gonna lose your house. You're gonna lose your cars. You're gonna have bankruptcy again. You're gonna." I've had people say that, and I think with my attitude of just facing my fear, taking the risk, jumping in head first is what's going to make you be more aware of how to face that, and putting it on social media and saying, "You know what? I am worthy of doing these things, and I am worthy of going through the roller coaster to end up, being in a good position." Because that's the ultimate goal, is being in a good position, but it takes those hard steps to get there. And sometimes it's posting it on social media to face that fear to get there.
So you just told me I had a fear that people were going to say negative things. You did it anyway. Your fear came true. They said negative, some of them. You also get a lot of support. I see it, but
Yeah.
some of them did say negative things. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be when they said the negative things?
No, no, because I've shoved it. I've
Yeah.
shoved it. I have a new focus.
They're crabs in a bucket, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, I love that analogy because it's so true. If you put one crab in a bucket, it can crawl out. It'll crawl out, it'll get away. But if you
Mhm.
put two or more crabs in a bucket, what will end up happening is as soon as one starts crawling out, the other one will reach up and pull it back
Come
down,
down. Yep.
right? And that's such a weird thing. It's like a human behavior, it'd be interesting to study that, that it's like scientifically study that aspect of human social behavior. There are people, I have a friend who's very successful on YouTube. And he told me one time we were talking kind of about this same topic. And he said, everybody's ambition is to win, is to finish the race first before everyone else, is to get ahead and be ahead in society. And there's two ways that people go about it. The first way is work harder and do more and earn it. The second way is try to pull the people ahead of you down and put them under you so that you feel like you're ahead of them, right? And that's such a sad way. That's such a sad way to go about life. Anyway,
Right.
that's
Right.
I'm getting off topic, but you're gonna have haters no matter what you do. You could go
Mhm.
be a waiter at a restaurant and you're still gonna have people that hate on you for it. Like no matter
Yep.
what, you're gonna have haters in life. You might as well do something that's going to build generational wealth for you and your family while you're being hated on.
Hmm.
No matter where we go, we're going to get hate.
Yep.
So, but I do love about the Investor Secret Network community that it's built, that it's built around a culture of love. And that is because of the people that are in it, people like you and the other Investor Secret Network members. It's a collaborative thing. Like there's not a sense of competition. There's not a sense of I've got to do it before you, right? Kind of thing. Or if you get a deal, then that's the only deal and I don't get one now. I love that we have this collaborative culture of, rising tide raises all ships.
I agree. I agree. It's been really great. I wanted to share that because of this community, I've been able to partner with a few others that are scared and that they needed a little bit of hand-holding. And I've been able to partner with them. And it's just amazing to see other people blossom when they are trying so hard and they're trying to face fears. And sometimes it's just a little bit of hand-holding that gets them to do that. And that's what I felt like where you were, Mitch. You had to hold my hand a little bit at the beginning. And once I learned how to walk, it made that huge of a difference. And that's where I see with these others that have reached out to me and said, "Hey, can I, follow you or shadow you for a little bit?" And I'm like, of course, that's what we want. That's what I want. Everybody in the ISN to know is that I'm also available. If you want to walk through my property with me and look at things, I am so happy to do that. And it's part of that secret network that we're here to lend a hand to others because there's always going to be deals. There's always going to be deals. And
Yep.
if I can help, a couple of people find, deals and kind of hold their hand at the beginning, then that just that's what we do. That's that's
Yeah.
what that's what it's for.
Yeah. It's an abundance mindset. Yeah, I love
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
So you are now a badass real estate investor out building your empire. But you're also a mom and you're also a wife. Talk to me about that balance.
Um, the okay, I'm gonna be honest. That first flip challenge, the first season one was rough.
It was challenging.
It
Yeah.
was a challenge. It was rough. And what I did with my family that first week is we sat down as a family and said, Mom's got some things that's going to be happening in the next few weeks, and I'm trying to focus. And this is what we're going to do as a family, where we gave my oldest some responsibilities and dad was on board to make sure that, the house stayed clean, that the meals were being made because mom was spending a lot of extra time on the computer, driving. I was driving to Provo and back, 2 or 3 times a week,
From
looking
Tooele.
at properties. Yeah, from Tooele. And so just,
That's
I
what, an
was
hour and a half drive, like one
yeah.
way,
Yeah.
a
And if
three
I
hour
hit traffic,
commute. Yeah.
yes, if I hit traffic,
Yeah.
I was on the road a lot longer. But the balance worked because our family was on board altogether. We had a family agreement. We kept up with our family meetings, and we had to keep reminding ourselves, remember, mom's doing this, or Annabelle, remember, you're taking care of this, so mom can do this. And so I think our balance within our family, with my kids and my husband, because we were united and because we had gone into it all together, it wasn't just mom's challenge, it was our family challenge to get through. And so by the time the second challenge came in, we just kicked it right back into play. And we knew exactly what needed to be taken care of. And mom did, I myself had to take days where, okay, I'm going to focus all on my kids. It's all on my kids today. And
Yep.
Sundays, we made Sundays our days where we can just be lazy and lay in bed and watch TV with mom and, play board games with the kids. As long as there was some time where mom was able to focus on the family, we were okay. We were okay.
Yeah.
And my husband and I still went out on dates. We still, went out in the neighborhood and walked around, did our walks, and I think it's important to make sure that you're still doing your self-care, taking care of your family, and being present, but still focus on what the challenge requires you to do. And it's
Yeah.
all time management. It's all blocking your time. You have to block your
Yep.
time. And I have to say that I'm still a little bit horrible with that. I'm still trying to
Aren't
work
we
on
all?
work
I think
on
that's
that.
part of life's journey, right?
Still trying to work on that. And there are a lot of things that I'm still trying to perfect. But
I love
as
that you
far as
have done that though. Like Sunday, Amelia and I kind of have a similar system. Sundays, we disconnect. Sunday is family day. We spend it with our kids. We spend it, that's when we go see our parents, like, and it's just family time. And no work gets done, and that's intentional. But then we work our butts off Monday to
yeah.
Saturday, right? Like Monday morning
Yep.
to Saturday night, we're working our butts off.
Yep.
Um, and that time blocking thing, like if you have everything that you need to do scheduled into your calendar, and then when it's time to do that thing, you give it 100%. We think, hey, no, I'll just multitask. Like I'll cook dinner while I'm watching my class or whatever. And while that works sometimes, if you're only you're splitting your attention, maybe 50% over here, 50 over there, or 25% over here, and 75 over there. Um, I would say the best advice that I can give that you have done a great job at is when you're doing something, if you're doing the challenge right now, during this hour, you give that 100%. And
Mhm.
then when it's time to be with the kids, I give my kids 100%.
Yep.
It's interesting. Me and I have two kids, and there's always that fear of um, if I take on this next challenge to get to the next level in my business. Uh, and I have to miss some basketball practices or some dance recitals or is my kid going to hold that against me forever? And there's that fear as a parent, right? But what's cool to me, and you've shared some things, and I'm hoping I can have you share this story again.
Uh-huh.
You focusing on yourself and being selfish for a second really just kind of, and this is true in our family too, it really just kind of sets an example for the kids. And
Mhm.
they don't look at it as, oh, mom's off doing this challenge thing and she never pays attention to me anymore. That's totally not the response that at least your kids and our kids are giving us. It's the opposite. You had a beautiful experience with your daughter that you shared, I think, on social media. Do you
I
mind sharing
did.
that again?
I would love to. I would love to. Um, she had watched me. We were going through the challenge, and she was at the point where she kept asking me, "So what are you working on now? Like you're watching these videos, is it a good one?" She started to ask questions. She noticed that mom would be on the computer, from sun up till sundown, watching videos and running deals and calling people and there were a few times where I told her, this is really hard, Annabelle. I just need some time to just focus on this. This is hard. I'm trying to do something. Um, and she goes to girls camp for church every summer. And last summer she went to girls' camp, and she's very timid. She's quiet. She kind of hangs out in the background. Um, and they had to do a ropes course at girls' camp. And she's very she's afraid of heights. I jump out of airplanes, but she doesn't. See, so she thinks that's crazy. But after going to girls' camp and going back to school, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know she went on a ropes course. I didn't, and a teacher at school had asked, um, they want to know who is courageous in their life. Who do they know that's courageous? And she had said that it was her mom. And you had a lot of the kids saying, movie stars and, UFC fighters and all that. And she came out and said her mom. And she said that my mom has been doing some really hard things. And I watched my mom do that. And so, because of what my mom does and how she faces her fears and how she's so courageous and brave, I had an experience this summer where I had the opportunity to do a ropes course. And I did it because I stood at the top of that ladder and I thought, if my mom can do hard things, I can do hard things. And she did it. And my heart just overflowed, just thinking my daughter is recognizing things that I'm doing that I didn't even think even mattered to her. Like, she's 13 years old. She's a teenager. She hangs out with her friends and does her own thing. I did not realize that doing certain things in my life reflects to her. And so when she told me I went on the ropes course, I did it because I knew that if you were there, you would do it, and you do scary things. And so I did it. And I asked her, I said, "Were you proud of yourself after? Were you pretty feeling pretty courageous?" And she said, "Yeah." She said she had that feeling where she could do anything. She could do anything. And I had to hug her and I wouldn't let her go.
That's
I
so
had to hug
awesome.
her for a few minutes and just tell her that I was so proud of her, and that I love that she recognizes that it takes determination and courage to do hard things. And
Yeah.
it's just awesome to see. And even my two littles are recognizing, and they know. And we've been doing a lot of, we got to go to mom's properties and just do a drive by real quick. And so then they know while we're going down the street, oh, there's mom's house. See, that's mom's house, and
That's
that's
awesome.
mom's house. So they recognize, my family recognizes. And it's been even great with my husband too, because for most of our marriage, it's just been Mahea in the background, and Ron's been, kind of the spotlight of our family. And
Yeah.
he even reached out and said, "I am so proud of you. You are doing
Oh,
things that I can't even imagine that you would have done 20 years ago when we met." And so it is, people are noticing. And it's my kids, my husband. Um, I have siblings now that are reaching out and saying, "I'm watching you. I'm watching you, and
yeah.
I'm proud of you." And so it's awesome. It's awesome.
Isn't that the pinnacle of parenthood? Those moments when we realize that we've been an inspiration to our children and, that we in some aspect were their hero. Like that is like there's no greater reward to being a parent than being your kid's hero, right? It's
Yes,
so awesome.
I love
It
it.
actually made me tear. Like I've heard that story before and it made me tear up. So I love that. That's awesome. Uh, so what advice to aspiring investors? What advice can you give someone who's looking inward on what you're doing and facing those fears of you know jumping in head first? What advice can you give those people?
So my biggest thing is really hang out with more investors. Create your network. You are who you hang out with. And that's
Yeah.
been huge for me, is just getting into the network and getting new friends, new best friends. And also, investing the 6 inches, that has been huge for me.
Your
investing
most
in the
valuable
six
real
inches.
estate, 6 inches
Yes,
between your ears, right?
that has been crazy for me. That I never thought that the information that I'm putting in here is getting me to where I want to be.
Yeah.
So the networking, the education, and then just doing, just do,
Yeah.
just turn your hose on and keep it on. Don't turn it off. Turn the hose
Yep.
on and
Leave
just
it
let
on.
it flow.
Keep it
Yes,
going. Yeah.
get it
Keep
going.
pumping,
Just
right?
keep
Oh,
pumping.
yeah.
Yes,
I love it. That's
yes.
awesome, Mahea. Well, thank you. And to just to follow up on your advice, we've had a couple of people in the YouTube comments say, "All right, sign me up." Like Mahea's convinced me. Let's go. Best way to get involved, best way to follow Mahea's advice and start hanging out with the people that are doing it, and following their example is to become a part of the Investor Secret Network if you're not already. There's a link in the description of the YouTube video. That link will get you started for $1 for the first month. And then every month after that, it'll renew at $97 till you choose to cancel. But if you want to follow Mahea's example, she's still running it, right? Because she doesn't stop. She keeps going. And she recognizes that it's the people that you hang out with. It's the
Mhm.
people you surround yourself with. Mahea, so inspirational. Thank you for being an inspiration to me and an inspiration to me and Maeli, and an inspiration to all of your peers. Everybody that's a part of the First Flip Challenge and a part of the Investor Secret Network looks up to you. And we're so grateful for you. We're grateful to have you here. Grateful that you took the time today to let me just interview you and talk about your success. So I hope we get to have you on again really soon. For everybody that's watching on the live stream, that's all for this week's Mitch Maeli Live. Mahea, hang out for just a second, but we're gonna end this stream and we will be back next week. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, guys.
All righty.